Chamath, you said that you view this as the clearest straight shot growth opportunity that you've encountered. And naturally, as you hear and think about healthcare, high degree of regulation, just a tangle for people to navigate in their own personal lives, a nightmare for many, many people. It wouldn't naturally line up, check. This is the greatest growth opportunity that I have seen. But I can imagine that you genuinely mean that. Why?
First, just an administrative point. I got an email saying to step back because I have the mic. I just want whoever sent me that email, Andy, if you could just get that feedback from the Motley Fool team, hopefully this is better. So I apologize if I was screaming into the mic.
No, you're fine.
Sorry. So yeah, I really did believe it. And the reason is because I think that just going back to that framework, the product market fit here in many ways is very modelable. And what I mean by that is when you look under the hood at the top of the funnel, you would want to say, well, is this product used by a kind of person in New Jersey and in the other states where they exist that represents a plurality of Americans, right? Meaning if it isn't, then you're kind of hosed. But in this case, what we saw was some really interesting data. If you cut the adoption of Clover by household income or by ethnicity or by geographic location, urban, exurban, suburban, rural, and then you take those counties in which they exist and the distribution of outcomes and say, do those change a lot? And the answer is actually not that much. So whether you're in a city or whether you're in a suburb or whether you're in the rural environment, they tend to grab share very predictably. And what that means numerically is that their take rate is about 50%. So today, if 100 people go into open enrollment, they'll get 50 of them in a county. Tomorrow, or next year rather, in open enrollment, the next 100 people that are up for grabs, they'll grab 50. They'll grab 50. They'll grab 50. So as you can imagine, it's slow, but in the early phases, the growth becomes very predictable. And what you see is that by year 3 or 4, they tend to be about 25% share. And so what they've done is they've taken share from the incumbents, Wellspring, United, Centene, et cetera. So I looked at that and I said, okay, well, show me all the other counties in America, the 3,000 odd counties, and show me how similar or dissimilar they are to the counties in which they exist. And what you find is tremendous similarity. Again, by geography, by household income, by education level, by ethnicity. These guys aren't cherry picking white rich people in just a few suburbs in Jersey that are, across from New York City. They touch blacks, they touch Asians, they touch everybody of all different spectra. And those take rates and the market penetration rates still hold. And so when you translate that, that's where I got comfort that that this is a growth model that's going to be very predictable. It's kind of like this slow and steady 25 to 30% compounding every single year. That's number one. That's what they control, right? They can control their go-to-market. They could spend more money to accelerate it or not. But then what you have is a market dynamic that I've never seen before. Like I have been very close and early on in the Amazon and Tesla stories. As you guys know, I was an architect of the Facebook story. Man, getting users is hard. Getting growth is hard. You have to convince people that what you're doing is worthwhile. Here, this market is actually getting created demographically for you every single day and every single week. I think the number that we use is like 10,000 people a day age into Medicare and have to decide between the government-sponsored alternative and the for-profit private insurance model called Medicare Advantage. $1 billion a week of revenue potential. And now in a Joe Biden and in his administration, it's actually going to get even better than that, because the do no harm solution will be to keep the Medicare age at 65. But Biden has said that he wants to drop the Medicare age limit to 60. And so, forget the $1 billion a week. That $1 billion a week could grow to $1.5 billion or $1.7 billion of new revenue potential every week. So if you take this externality tailwind of demographics and then you take their ability to compound predictably in all kinds of heterogeneous markets, that's where I came to the conclusion, like, this is a very straight, predictable path to millions of member lives. And if you look at millions of member lives, you're talking about a 20 or $30 billion company. And our entry point is, in the low single digit billions. And so that's where I got to our 10X in 10 years, where it was relatively straightforward. If they just keep doing what they've been doing historically, I think that they'll tip in the product market fit expansion phase. By the way, then there's a free option in the business, which we haven't talked about yet. And the free option is what the government is trying to do, which is they're trying to create incentives for all these best of breed Medicare Advantage companies to come and add value to traditional Medicare, to fee for service Medicare. Meaning that's the government's way of saying, holy shit, like, if this private insurance market continues to get better and better and more efficient and better outcomes, we should incentivize those same companies to come and take these folks on as well. And the way that they're doing it is with the program called direct contracting. These guys are, one of the largest, if not the largest group and entity playing a role there. And all that means is take your technology and come and contract into fee for service Medicare and help these folks too. And I think that that's a big valuation game changer, because it is the thing that will pull forward the realization of product market fit.